Mahomes magic, exacting revenge on their only loss of the season with a touchdown pass with 28 seconds to go to get out of Vegas. We always want to get out of Vegas and get out with a victory. The Chiefs are still looking up at the Pittsburgh Steelers for the number 1 overall seed in the AFC. So this morning we're asking the Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin Nation what team the Chiefs don't want to face. Could it be 10-0 Pittsburgh? I think that's the obvious answer. Keith thinks the Raiders, who have played him really tight, could be the answer. Maddie_Burke just hit us up on the Dr. Pepper Twitter feed. Good morning, Maddie. They lost to the Raiders once and barely slipped by them last night. I think they have the confidence to go out and give them a run again, essentially echoing what Keyshawn had said.
It's going to be hard, though. Third time is really, really hard.
As you said.
Oh, it's hard.
Third time. Let's get into it. Let's ask this to Dan Orlovsky. He joins us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Spent 12 years in the NFL. Pennzoil synthetic motor oils made from natural gas gives you unbeatable engine protection. The proof's in the Pennzoil based on Sequence 4A wear test using SAE 5W30. And once again, keep those tweets coming. Whatever team you think could challenge the Chiefs the most, the one they don't want to face at Key J and Z. You can call us at 888-SAY-ESPN as well. All right. So, Dan, here we go. Week 5, a 40-32 win for the Raiders at Arrowhead. Last night, a 35-31 loss. As Maddie_Burke said, 2 tight ones. What do the Raiders do, or what do the Raiders have going against the Chiefs that seemingly this year the rest of the league doesn't?
I mean, the Chiefs are the only team in the NFL that there's a very specific formula on how to beat them. And you've got to be perfect when how you execute it. Like, you got to be able to be explosive on offense. The Raiders can do that. You have to be able to kind of own the clock at moments. They did that. They're only 1 possession each team in the third quarter yesterday. Raiders go on that massive long drive. And then your quarterback has got to play lights out above the X's and O's football. And Derek Carr really did that. And so, like, there's this formula of how to beat Kansas City. And the Raiders are probably as equipped of a football team in the NFL to do it. But here's the thing, Z, like, you guys asked the question, what team do the Chiefs not want to play the most? That doesn't matter. Like, this the Chiefs. They don't care who they play. I think the Raiders are very well equipped. There's no question asked, obviously, with the win that they had and then last night's performance. It doesn't matter. Like, they played almost a flawless game. They coached a flawless game. Derek Carr was flawless. I mean, Derek Carr was absolutely perfect. And it still wasn't enough. Like, and it still wasn't enough. And I said this a couple weeks ago. I think the Bills are the most equipped team to do it because they can be explosive. They can own the clock. They got a quarterback that can go above the X's and O's and make kind of those creative broken plays. The Raiders are certainly up there, but that's the perfect example. You could play your A game and operate your plan perfectly, and it still won't be good enough against Kansas City.
Dan, I clearly rolled my eyes when you mentioned the Bills, but that's between me and you. Let me ask you this. As a quarterback expert, so much was talked about when John Gruden took this job as the Raiders coach that Derek Carr is on his way out, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
That has all changed, obviously, now, especially with the way Derek and John has been dialing things up and Derek's been playing. Why has it changed so much?
Yeah, Keith, just so you know, I rolled my eyes last week when you said the Patriots are going to make the playoffs, too.
Yeah, so. And I rolled my eyes yesterday when I realized they were not going to make the playoffs.
Listen, I think that what happened with the Raiders and Gruden and Carr with this offense is, for that 2 or 3 year stretch, Derek Carr was, playing okay football, and everyone was like, oh, Derek Carr can't play anymore. And there was some people, I was one of them, who was like, they just need to get people around them that are better. They just had been so deprived of talent. And if you look at their football team this year, like, Key, you know this, to have a really good offense and to have your quarterback to play well, you got to really have 3 things. You got to have a great scheme. And Greg Olsen and John Gruden have really brought this kind of old school West Coast philosophy with the new age offense of motion and formationing and matchups to the Raiders. So they got a great scheme. 2, they got really, really, really good players. And it's not just that they've got really good players. They've got like very situationally perfect players. Renfro is great in the middle field on third down. Waller's a matchup problem. Aguilar has become a good one-on-one matchup. Ruggs has got big-time speed. So they got players around him. And then you got to be able to call that scheme really well. And Greg Olsen and John Gruden do that. And so Derek Carr is now kind of at the helm of this offense that's talented with Jacobs as an addition. Offensive line is good. They gave him a ton of freedom at the line of scrimmage last night. I don't know if everyone heard. I'm hoping they did. Like, you heard the Mamba Georgia, the Mullen, Nike Mullen stuff. Like, that is him controlling things at the line of scrimmage because they're allowing his kind of intelligence to help that offense operate. And he's become aggressive. That was the thing that was also missing over the past couple of years is he just wasn't aggressive with the football, probably because they didn't have people to do it. And so, you've got those three variables now with a quarterback that's super confident. Their offense, this is the best third down offense in the NFL, one of the most efficient. So I'm not surprised that Derek Carr is playing well.
Dan, let's talk about the Dolphins versus the Broncos. Tua, after getting sacked 6 times, got benched. Brian Flores already said that he will be the starter next week, but obviously Fitzpatrick came in down the wire. Do you agree with the way that Flores and the Dolphins handled that situation?
No, I do not. If you started Tua at quarterback and thought everything was going to be, utopia, you're kidding yourself. This is quarterback in the NFL. So I'm disappointed that they pulled him in the first moment of resistance. I'm disappointed in that because did you not think he's good enough? Do you not think he's good enough to pull you back in that football game when you're down 10? Every quarterback has 2-3 quarter stretches where they don't play good enough. So I was disappointed that the first time that Tua saw struggle, they pulled him. That being said, I think Brian Flores over the last 18 months has earned the right for me to go, I trust that his decision making is what's best for his football team in ways that I can't see because I'm not attached to the team, obviously. Naturally, my emotion is going, what are you doing? You can't do this to Tua. But over the last 18 months, I think Brian Flores has shown me that he'll press the right buttons and he'll understand what that team needs in that moment. And the offensive line was getting whooped and Tua wasn't just seeing things well, feeling the game well. And down 10, maybe he's sitting there going, I think that Tua is our best player, but in this moment, Ryan Fitzpatrick is the best option. And it didn't work out. And like I said, I was disappointed with that, but I think Brian Flores has earned the right to make that choice and for me not to sit here and say that was stupid on his part.
Well, I'm going to hit you with this one. I think you know what's coming. Your boy Carson Wentz, 2 more picks, a pick 6. Ouch. Is it time to move on from him, Dan? Come on, be honest with us.
I gotta go, guys. That's the end of my hit. No, it's not time to move on. I think that here's the point I'm